Hey guys, welcome back to the Steel City Styrene Mountain. Last video, if you remember, was like a 25-minute critique of the review of 2014 and the one build I did. So this video, we're going to take a look at some of the projects I have on deck for the first half of 2015. Originally, when I was rehearsing this video in my mind, for those people who haven't caught on yet, I drive a truck between Pittsburgh and Chicago. Well, I want to say 6 times a week, but it's really 3 times a week. You know, each way takes a day. So, 6 days a week, I'm driving for 8.5 hours a day or so. So it gives me time to, think and plot and, rehearse sometimes out loud, sometimes in my mind, what I'm going to say on these videos so I don't, stutter all over the place and have to record things 15 different times. And originally it was to say first quarter of 2015, but I'm one of those people that, has to paint out of doors. So, yeah, unless we get a freak warm spell, there ain't gonna be no painting going on. I mean, I will paint chassis plates, maybe interior pieces if there's big interior pieces, or interiors that need to be the same color as the body, unibody chassis plates. That'd be, chassis that have to be the same color as the body. Yeah, things of that nature. Prime bodies, get the bodies prepped for paint, but I really don't do a whole lot of color painting, and I especially don't do any clear coating when it's cold. I mean, you can very carefully bring the body up to a temperature, above room temperature. No boil it. Don't put it in front of the heater. Don't put it in the oven or anything else like that. But my basement is probably a good 10, 15 degrees colder than the rest of my house, so I'll just take it upstairs the night before and get it warmed up to, 70 degrees or so. And then you warm your paint like you normally would, and doing any kind of rattle canning, you always want to warm your paint regardless. And, shoot the paint, let it dry out, half the flash time outside and then half the flash time inside, trying to bring it back to warm it up a little bit. Maybe someday we'll do a painting how-to. I'm not sure that I'm really qualified to give one, but, I did paint on commission when I was a kid, so I can't be that far out of practice, can I? At any rate, like I said, we'll look at some of the stuff I have on deck for the first half of the year. Hopefully, I've modeled as ADD. I can't even promise you that any of this will get done in 2015, or that the things I do get done this year, one of these I have to build by June. That's part of a club function, but the other stuff is just, stuff on my bench, or around my bench, and, I can't promise you any of the stuff will be done, or that other stuff won't be done instead, but this is what's sort of left over from, 2014 for, again, people that are new to me, because I know, the original people that subscribed to this channel, when I started doing the Stash project last summer, were, my friends, and, obviously, last time I looked, we were 56 subscribers, so that's 6 more people since, I looked last, so, hello to the new people. My mom passed away in February, which was not a aw shucks. Please don't plow the comments with a whole bunch of, sympathy or empathy, because, yes, the year anniversary is rapidly approaching, but, it happened, and, I don't know if moved on is the right saying, but, you cope, you deal. And then in October, I took out a water buffalo that was dressed up like a deer, and that totaled out my car. And so, without, throwing a big boohoo pity party for myself, it really hadn't been a good 2014, productive-wise, or just, personally or family. Hitting the deer caused a bunch of friction that shouldn't have been there. My mom passing sort of, unleashed the hounds of the family. I'm sure probably everybody can relate to that, experience where, when a specific figure in the family, somebody who, everybody sort of goes to, passes, suddenly the fangs come off, the claws come out, and, everybody suddenly tells you exactly how they feel about you. And, that's okay. The feeling was mutual for the most part, but it doesn't make it any less, obnoxious, especially during the funeral itself. So, all the stuff that I have left over from 2014 is stuff that I had started early in the year and then just sort of set aside, in the spring, finished up that portion in the summer, and then I started really kind of working in the fall. Then I hit the deer. Right as I started working full time too. It was the worst possible time I could have hit that stupid deer, and that required just a bunch of nonsense, and it stopped everything I was doing completely. And I've finally hit the pause button and started, getting back downstairs. I did all the weekly videos just because it only took me a couple hours to put together the information from sources and from websites and, present it in what I hope is a somewhat concise and helpful manner. And, I went to build one of the things I'm working on. I realized that I had painted, like more than half of one of the sub-assemblies and just never put it together. I was ready to put it together the day I was coming home from work, and then everything went sideways. So, also going to look a little bit into my personal philosophy about the hobby. It's too much for me to go into, extreme detail. We'd be here all day, possibly into tomorrow and through the weekend. But, I know a lot of people have their little taglines for the channels, dreaming one build at a time, and Gil over at Red Dragon's Model Works says everything on a sprue. And to me, the models I collect, and it's not really trying to collect them as much as it is to buy them to build them, as I look around at way too many things that I'll ever get done. I've come to that realization. I'm 37, but I'll never get all this stuff done. But it's not going to stop me from buying it because there's just new stuff to have all the time. I'm not sure if that makes me a hoarder or just a realistic collector. At some point, somebody, kids, wife, is going to make a good chunk of change off this basement if I should pass before I can personally, lose my motor skills and my eyesight and everything, and realize I have to sell it myself. So, but my philosophy as far as the stuff I collect, the models that I have, has always been sort of, bringing my dreams to reality and scale. And that'll more or less become the tagline for this side of the channel on these videos, probably in the outro. Can't promise it'll be in this outro because I'd have to do some work on that, but, and that's really sort of what it is. I mean, you look at stuff like the Lamborghini Veneno, and it's a bunch of carbon fiber nailed together at odd angles, but there's only 4 of them in the entire world. One's at the Lamborghini Museum in Italy, and then there were 3 sold to the general public at like $3.5 million bucks a pop. Even if you were to go hit the Mega Millions tomorrow, you aren't going to go buy one unless you can convince one of the 3 people that has one to give one to you. Well, sell one to you. Stuff like the LaFerrari. They didn't sell those. They had a list of people who had bought Ferraris in the past, and they picked people to own a LaFerrari. I believe one has escaped into the wild. Somebody who got one ended up selling it, much to the chagrin of Ferrari, and I can pretty much guarantee that person will never ever get another exclusive Ferrari again. But just regular, there's a few things. Chances are that if you saved your money, you could buy like all these WRXs or the BRZ Scion FRS. Maybe an old muscle car for my midlife crisis hits hard enough, Corvette. There's certain cars you could own in real life, but the chances of you really owning any of this stuff, especially some of this really obscure JDM stuff that they don't even, I couldn't even import if I wanted to because it's not old enough. There has to be that whole law where it has to be at least 30 years old before the federal government will let you import a Japanese car to the United States. The only way I can ever own any of this stuff is in 1/24 scale. So, that's how I look at things. Whenever the debate erupts about, kits and what should be made, what shouldn't be made, and just that whole general hijinks that go on without online, especially on forums and in Facebook land, it's all about, would I want to own the car? If I would want to own the car, then I would buy a kit of it. If I don't want to own the car, or I have no interest in the car whatsoever, because there's some stuff like the Renault 4 Fourgonnet. I have no real desire to own a French panel wagon, but it's a really cool car just in the obscurity factor, so I have a kit of it. The Citroen DS19 that Ebro and Hell are going to put out later this year. Yeah, no desire to buy a Citroen, especially that one looks like a cockroach driving down the road, but it's a really odd car. It was a very one of the top designs of the last century, as voted on by like everybody. Very innovative car. And it's just a cool, in the overall sense of vehicles, it's a cool vehicle. You'll find very quickly with me, if you haven't caught on with the way the staff projects run, where we cover all the Asian and European manufacturers as well as just the stuff here in the United States, I don't have a focus that's dedicated to, American cars from 1945 to 1971. That's just not going to cut it here. That doesn't fly here. House rule number one of the Steel City Styrene Mountain is no bigoting towards foreign cars or new cars. You're gonna hit my S list real quick if you start, what are you building that for? You should build a Mopar. Hey, look, I got more Mopar kits than you can shake a stick at. I love muscle cars, but that doesn't mean everything I build has to be one. I have a very broad expanse as to my car preferences, a very broad expanse to my musical preferences. I mean, you get me a good radio station that plays classic rock and current rock, so I'm listening to like the new, I had a good example of this on the way home today, and I can't remember what the first song was. Godsmack. It was a new Godsmack song, and then they played Wayward Son by Kansas. Those are two really diametrically opposite songs, but it was a cool set to listen to. Then I went into commercial break and I changed the channel. But, so I've got, Volkswagen Beetles, and I've got GTRs, and I've got Mini Coopers, and I've got LaFerraris, and I've got, 71 Duster, and a new Camaro, 56 Nomad, and, the Chrysler letter car from Mobius, and an FXX, and a SLS AMG, and a Nismo Skyline, which technically here in the United States is sold as an Infinity, but all the Toyota Crowns, the Crown Royals and the Crown Athletes, and there's a 65 Chevy pickup and a 69 Camaro and a 68 Firebird, and I look back onto this stuff back here, and I've got an Evo 10 and a Lamborghini Countach LP400 and. It's just my love for cars is universal. It doesn't. I get very frustrated with people that are stuck with what they grew up with. I mean, first of all, what I grew up with was junk. Let's face it, the '80s was not a very good decade until the end of it. Maybe not even then. I mean, the horsepower thing didn't really get started until the LT1 motor was created and the ZR1 Camaro, and then things really sort of took off to where we are today. I really don't want to see any cars from when I was a kid, made into scale. The Volkswagen Rabbit and golf kits are kind of an exception because actually we owned a Rabbit at one point in time in my life when I was a kid. But I have no desire for any 70s land yachts. I have no desire for any 80s Econo cars. I mean, there's some iconic cars from the 80s, but, for the vast majority of it, first of all, there already is a kit of a Citation, but I don't want to build a kit of a Citation. I don't really have any desire to build a Dodge Omni or a Plymouth Horizon or a Yugo or anything like that. I'm nostalgic about high school in the sense that, like everybody, you get told that it's the best time of your life and you're a stupid kid and you're like, yeah, whatever. And it really is. But I don't have any nostalgia to the 5-door Geo Prism that I drove in high school. Or the S10L, the one that has the rubber floor and the bench seat and no power anything or even air conditioning. Yeah, I have no desire to ever own that truck again or own a model of that truck, even though Monogram did an S10. It's not the right one, but I wouldn't backdate it because I really don't want to build a car model of that car. So, like I said, that's where my philosophy is. If you come here looking for, detailed, builds, I hate to still, Chevy Cheeseburger's built to the extreme thing for the contest he's doing for his, channel and extreme scale detail, but, I did that kind of stuff when I was younger. I don't have any of the models anymore to prove it. I don't have any of the ribbons or the plaques to prove it. But trust me when I say that 15, 20 years ago, I built award-winning models. Now, they weren't best of show stuff. It wasn't like, hey, you were going to recognize my name out of a magazine. At least I don't think I was ever in a magazine. I never bought the Scale Auto Contest edition. I never really went to the big shows like that in the first place. But, I won my class. And, unfortunately, all the models and all the stuff was in a box that when I moved out of an apartment, the guys were helping me move, just sort of chucked stuff into the top of the box. And I looked in the box, saw trash, and pitched the whole box. Lost a couple of good things with that besides the model. Some books, just a bunch of stuff. And so, now I'm back in the hobby, and I built one model, if you don't count all the snap-tight kits I built with my kids. But, hopefully we'll get out of that. And I'm not really looking to build contests this time around. I don't know if it's a maturity thing. I'm 37 now, where I was 19 then. But I certainly respect everybody who goes through the rigors of detailing out to the nth degree. But, you know, I've wired things. I almost dug out one build that's wired, but I'm not going to dig it out of the box that it's in. That's from way back when. I found that going through some stuff the other day. But, you know, it just really doesn't, I don't have any desire to really do all that. I mean, there's kits that I have that come with photo etch, and I think the photo etch helps the overall look of a model when you're not replacing, but at least fronting the brake rotors with a piece of real metal, or you're replacing the mesh inlays with actual real in-scale metal mesh, and things of that nature. And I do those things. And I have a number of models that have a lot of carbon fiber decals for them. And, you know, I like doing that. You'll find that I'm like a psychotic person in the sense that I love decals and I love bare metal foil. I know those are two things that a lot of people would rather jump off their porch into traffic than actually attempt on a regular basis. But I love the patience. I love the whole, you know, fitting the decals together and the completion of it. Well, I taught people how to drive a truck for a living, so believe me, I have the patience of a saint. And I know patience is patience is a virtue, and a lot of people don't have any, which is really amusing when you're in a hobby that requires vast quantities of it. And when I talk about decals and bare metal foil, I just mean in general. This hobby requires you to have patience, and I see a lot of people who are really convinced that they're in some sort of race. You know, I built this car in 48 hours. Look, if you joined a 48-hour build, hey, cool, you know. I like the idea. I like the concept. I did a 24-hour build. Didn't finish, but I did it. But every model has to be built in 2 days or over the course of a weekend, and it's like, you know, slow down. You can improve so much if you just slow down. You don't have to come to like a one a model a year halt. You know, 2 a month. You can still crank them out. I got a buddy of mine who builds, you know, pretty clean. He built 52 models last year. 1 a week is what the average worked out to be. And, you know, some of them are better than others, but, you know, the stuff that's really good is really good. And, you know, he, you know, takes his time on stuff when it's going to turn out to be really well. And I think, you know, sort of crams them out when they're turning out kind of crappy. And I think that's probably how we all are. We all get to a point where a model comes to a head where you're like, yeah, either I'm going to finish this the way it is, or it's going to get finished going across the room, or it's going to get finished into a box, never to be seen again. And so, you know, you aren't going to get the super detailed builds here. Now, I do have a 112 scale Porsche 935 Turbo from Tamiya. I bought this thing for a song. I won't tell you how much I paid for it because you'll jump off your porch into traffic. That's going to be our crutch for this video, by the way. But it comes with all the detailing, all the tubing and wiring and everything to completely detail the entire kit from top to bottom. And I will do all of that detailing because I think that's a kit, you know, it's like a $200 model basically. And I think that kit deserves to be built that way. It's, you know, I was calling it a career build. It's not really a career build. It's not like, oh, I'm going to build that and then I'm done. But it's a statement build. It's something that's not going to be rushed. It's something that's going to take probably an entire year to get together, you know, and not because I'm being lazy, but because I'm being careful and diligent about it. I guess, yeah, the other thing about my philosophy about the hobby is the behavior of people online. And I'm nothing against the YouTube community or even the Google Plus community. I'm very enamored with YouTube. I'm very enamored with the Styrene Syndicate and Google Plus in general. I think there's a really good group of guys that are really intent on helping other people. And to me, that's what the hobby is about. Being a teacher, being, you know, somebody who taught people how to drive. I've done that for 16 years, and I've probably spent half of the last 16 years passing my skill on to other people. I don't do it anymore, but I used to, you know, up to a couple of years ago when I sort of got out of the over-the-road game and into more localized stuff. You know, I love getting our new guys come in and I have questions and I can actually answer them because, you know, management, you know, sometimes they don't give you the straight poop, as it were, but, you know, I really appreciate the guys who really want to share their knowledge, even if it is knowledge they, like Chris Chapman says, you know, he's just gotten from other people and is regurgitating, you know, hey, just pass the knowledge along. And I guess where my problem is, forums to a certain extent, but really on Facebook. There are a loud, probably a minority, but a loud contingent of people who build, let's be honest here, they build like shit. And it's not that they're new to the hobby, and it's not that they're returning to the hobby. There's some of that. But nobody's ever told them that they build like shit. And because nobody's ever told them, they just assume that they're good, and now they're beyond help. Now they assume they know everything. And, you know, there's two categories of people online that I'm willing to deal with. Well, not willing to deal with, but I have to deal with just going through forums and stuff like that. One is a group of people who are just coming back into the hobby or just starting the hobby, and they build like crap and they know it. And they desperately want help. And they desperately want to build better, even if they are at a level where they're like, oh, I'm comfortable with how I build. If you're going to YouTube and you're watching this video, you're watching any of the Stash Project, which is more about purchasing than it is about models, but this channel will be more about building. Or no, this part of the channel is not a separate channel, but it'll be more about building. But if you're going to, you know, Chris, or you're going to Chip, or you're going to Mr. Mini Dreams, or Hunter, or, oh Jesus, there's so many people. Fast Jimmy, there's just, I'm subscribed to about 30 people, and there's no way I can name them without putting the subscription list on the side. But, you know what I mean, there's just dozens, there's a good solid 2 to 3 dozen people on YouTube that every week are cranking something out that's either funny, topical, or helpful. I mean, obviously I think CT's retired from building and is just doing character work now, but it's funny character work, so hey, you know, works from him. No offense, it's funny, I love it. But you know, then there's the people that build like shit, and they don't know it. They've never been told. And this goes a little bit into the whole constructive criticism thing. You know, we're all delicately scared to offend anyone, and you'll quickly find out that I don't have that problem. I am the person I am online is the same person I am in person. I'm not going to push you down in the parking lot and hit you with your model, and I'm not going to be directly rude to your face. I wouldn't be directly rude to your face on the internet either. I mean, I've been using the internet since before there was an internet. You know, I'm not one of these people on Facebook with a fake name. There's one thing that's your channel name, but, you know, even Dr. Cranky goes by his real name on Facebook. You know, the people who have fake names and they're, you know, Gothic Killer, you know, custom sports, lowrider, slambird, bad dude, 420, don't give a fuck. And it's like, what? Dude, you build plastic models. Calm the fuck down. Pardon all the French. Maybe I'll throw a warning up in front that says there's bad language, but this stuff annoys me. You know, there's just a couple of people, really loud, obnoxious people that, you know, they don't build well. And you want to help them. You know, like you see that they're sort of cusp. You could save them. And I'm not saying that they need to be saved, but you know what I mean. And you approach them usually through a PM, you know, because I'm not into shaming people publicly. I'm not even shaming people privately, but, you know, I'm not into shaming people publicly. And be like, hey, you know, this, and this, and, you know, and you get back a diatribe. Look, here's how the internet works. Quick lesson to anyone watching who doesn't understand how the internet works. You take a model kit. You build the model kit. You then take the model kit you built, take pictures of the model kit. If you're taking pictures of the model kit, make them clear. There's absolutely no reason in 2015 that you're posting blurry pictures. I don't care if you don't know how to use your camera. I don't care if you're using your phone. It's a digital camera. It does not cost you a single penny more to take 1,000 pictures than it did one. Okay, you're not running to Walmart and printing this shit out of 35 millimeter film anymore. Take pictures until they're clear. Okay, so once your pictures are clear, you then post them online. When you put your work in public, this goes for me too, and anybody out there, you put your work into public, you are opening yourself up to the feedback that you get from public. Now, some of the public is trolling you. They're assholes. And these are the people you ignore because they're assholes to everybody. Doesn't matter what you did. It's not going to be good enough. Which, and that's fine. Because you know that they can't build their way out of a wet paper bag with both ends missing with a miner's hat on. And what you did build is 5 times better than what they did. But you're not going to sit there and get into some sort of pissing contest online because that leads to nowhere. Then there's the people that, you know, try to help you out and, you know, whatever. And then there's people that, you know, have no tact, but they're trying to help you out. The thing about the internet and the written word is you can't see inflections. At least if I would, like, do a response video to something you built and then tell you that it looked like crap, maybe you should repaint it and go, ha, ha, ha. You'd go, man, that guy's an asshole for laughing at me. But you could at least see that I was trying to be funny. I'm trying to be light. I'm trying to joke. But in the written word, you can't see that. So when you're critiquing somebody, a couple of quick, fast rules, don't use the word but. because every time you use the word but, they don't see the words before it, or they think it's a backhanded compliment, which is more their issue than yours. But think about it. If I say, I like your model, but the paint needs work, did you see the model, or did you just see that I say you paint like crap and I hate you? Or did you think I'm just saying, yeah, nice model, and your paint stinks? Don't use the word but. The other thing is, don't inject your personal opinion about a model kit into a critique of it. If the thing is sitting on three wheels and the other one's up off the ground, that's a legitimate point of criticism. It is a fact that the model is tripoded. If there's a paint run visible from the blimp on the side of the car, that's a fact. It's a painting error. Perhaps you can help them. But when you say things like, hey, cool build, but I don't like that paint, or hey, cool build, see the butt's coming back in, it's a great big butt, and I cannot lie. Whenever that butt comes in there with a, hey, that's a really nice model, but I don't like the wheels, shut up. Nobody asked you for your opinion of how it should have been done. Do not post, unless the person asks for it, or you know the person, really you shouldn't post your own work into their thread either, because that's kind of rude. But nobody asked for your opinion of what should have been done. If you think you can build that model kit better, then go buy it and build it better. Or build it the way you want to see it built. I have never once in my entire life, 30-plus years of building models, ever walked up to somebody, told them the model looks nice, but I would have done it differently. Because I can appreciate the work and the effort, perhaps the skill, perhaps not, that went into building it the way they wanted to build it. That is where the whole concept of I build for me comes in. Okay? When people say I build for me and they're being defensive, well, we'll get to that in a second, but everybody builds for themselves. Like I said, I don't detail stuff out to the nth degree. I just don't. That's the way I build. Please don't ever, if you see a build I post on a forum or on Facebook, although I don't do the Facebook thing that much anymore because it just drives me crazy, don't ever say, nice model, but you should have detailed the engine. Because I'll reach through my internet connection and break your keyboard. I won't hit you, but your keyboard is taking a hit. Because that's an ignorant thing to say. Nobody asked you, how do you like my model? Do you think I could have detailed the engine? Yeah, I know I could have detailed the engine, but I didn't because I don't want to. Yeah, that's not fun to me. It's fun to you, good for you. Go wire your own engines. Leave me out of it. But the inverse of all that is that if you put your stuff out there in public, you have to expect the feedback. You cannot wander around butthurt, chasing down the moderators of whatever group or forum you're in, complaining that people are criticizing your model. You put it out there, act like the adult that you are, because most forums require you to be over 18. Facebook requires you to be older than 14. Go out and act like the adult you are. It's that whole football thing, act like you've been here before. Somebody says something about your model, it may not be the kindest thing, it may not even be the correct thing. Well, that's when the whole thing about ignoring the trolls comes in. But don't get all butthurt and get people thrown out of forums or start flame wars for no reason. If I tell you, there's a really good example of this. I was on one of the major forums, and a guy posted a model of a 48 Woody, and the thing was leaning all lopsided because I could tell, I have the kit, that if you're not careful when you put the body and the chassis together, when you move it around, it's real easy to the chassis up inside it one way or the other too far. And I said to him in a very joking manner, hey, you need to get the fat chick out of the passenger seat because it's making the whole car lean to the right, which is probably sexist, but, we're all men, so we'll just skip that whole chapter. And the guy there later thanked me after a whole bunch of comments got deleted about how I was picking on this guy and I don't build anything and why don't you post what you build and blah, blah. It's like, dude, the thing is crooked. The model was gorgeous. Great paint, great woodwork on the woody part of it. Engine was fantastic. Chassis was fantastic, but the thing was effing crooked. Lean that thing back up right, because it just looks a little off in the pictures. It's one of those things where you looked at the picture, it wasn't like, hey, I see this great model. It was like, why am I leaning this way to see the thing? And the guy didn't take offense to it because, he laughed it off. Obviously, I was joking about the fat chick. And, we all went on our way, but everybody else went ballistic. And this is the real danger of Facebook, because Facebook is all about getting to know your friends. And, your friends don't need to defend you on Facebook. It's the internet. You can defend yourself. A lot of times you see, a group, and it's always the same people surrounding the same person, that when you critique something or you point something out, even if it's just like something stupid, like, hey, your valve covers are on upside down, their friends come riding to the rescue and have to defend them. And it's like, are we not all adults here? Can he not answer his own questions? Or 50 people have to come, tell me how great a builder he is, and I'm just, shit and blah, 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 blah. Your behavior online, well, again, outside of YouTube, your behavior online is abhorrent. Your parents would be ashamed of the way you behave. Now, I'm not a princess, okay, or a prince for that matter. So I've gotten into flame wars. I've let people get under my skin, but I try to avoid it and try to behave in a halfway decent manner. A lot of people seem to take critiquing kits. You watch a stash report. I'll tell you about the kit. I'll tell you the straight poop. I buy my own kits. Okay, nobody's sponsoring the stash report. Nobody buys any of these models but me. And if I think the model stinks on ice, you're going to know about it because I think you shouldn't make the same mistake I did. Or if I can help you not make a mistake before anybody does, then it's even better. But it's not about personally insulting the people at Revell when I go on a tangent about Revell. It's not a personal insult to the people at Mobius when I go on a tangent about the kits at Mobius. It's just, for $30, you should get the best thing you can for $30. You should get the most accurate, well-done piece of plastic in a box. It's a toy. Yeah, sure, but it's still $30 worth of a toy that you can get for that $30. And that's all critiquing a kit. Test shots, finished kits, anything. That's all what critiquing a manufacturer's test shot is about. The drip line's too low. The roof is too high. This is too long. That's too short. And everybody gets all bent out of shape. Well, you be lucky they even make model kits anymore. Really? I'm lucky? Are you lucky that McDonald's gives you fries? Or is that what they're supposed to do? Is it or is it not Revell's job to make model kits? Now, if they don't want to do that, they can close their doors. And let's face it, 99.5% of us have so many model kits that if every model company shut down tomorrow, it would not affect us in the slightest. We'll still never get it all done. So stop acting like, you're personally insulted by anything that has to do about critiquing an object. Be it your own or be it somebody else's. It's a model kit. Are you happy with it? Then be happy with it. Okay, that's enough of that for a little bit. So let's talk about what I'm working on. So you can critique things when I'm done building them. Okay, so some stuff that I have lying around, probably the longest, is going to be this you saw pop out on the screen. Is this Fujimi Aventador. Now, there's now 3, soon to be 4 Aventadors total on the market, but the Fujimi one, and there's actually like 2 or 3 versions of this. One has photo etch and one doesn't. And there's one that's supposed to be specific to the Japanese import model of the Aventador. This is not the good one. Okay, if you want a good Aventador, and here's honest kit criticism. You want a good Aventador, go buy an Aoshima one. You're going to spend less money and get more model. It's a fantastic combination, is it not? But I bought this one because it was the first one that came out, and we didn't know that Aoshima was going to do an Aventador. Usually, it's sort of a, I guess it's, Aoshima's, or not Aoshima, but Lamborghini's, current car. It replaced the, Murcielago. So, these, you can see on the side here, the doors open, or they're closed. It's one or the other. They don't open or close. I mean, you could hinge them yourself, obviously. You could be a model builder and hinge the doors, but out of the box, they're either fixed up or glued shut. And what I'm planning to do with this is paint it matte black. If you guys have ever seen there's a couple of, Batman-esque, one even has a Batman logo on it that floats around the internet, but one of the colors you can get an Aventador painted in is just matte black. There's also matte white, matte gray, and then all the metallics and regular colors. But I just think that the matte black looks badass. The Fujimi kit, the one thing about the Fujimi kit is it does come with a set of already painted black rims. It also comes with a set of chrome rims so you can build the regular cars, but it already has a set of pre-painted semi-gloss black rims. So really, add paint and you're on your way. It's a simplified chassis. It's a simplified interior. It's a one-piece engine tray rather than any kind of engine parts. And that's why I'm doing the matte black with this one. The Aventador that I have from Aoshima, that one will be a shiny color because it's a more in-depth kit. I'm also working on a pair of GTRs. Now, I'm not working on all of these at one time. I don't have parts to them all on my table at once. So people who are thinking, how do you keep that many models straight? Don't freak out on me. I'm not really working on all these, but they're all stuff I have in various stages of starting. Now, what this kit is a 2012 Nissan GTR Pure Edition. Now, this is the base model, if you want to call it GTR having a base model, but this is the base model Japanese spec 2012 Nissan GTR. There was also, at the same time, they did a kit of the Egoist, which is a Japanese tuning company, and they did a North American left-hand drive export model. And those were apparently only made 5 of those, I guess. And I could not buy one when they came out. I was not financially capable of doing so at the time. Definitely one of those people that I do not overspend my budget on model kits. I have a lot of model kits, but I've never not paid a bill because of them. Never had to sell any to pay a bill, that kind of thing. Up S Creek without a paddle out, right? Well, my hobby shop, and I'm not going to go grab that box, but the hobby shop had a 2007 left-hand drive export model kit with the engine. This kit also, it doesn't say on here that it has an engine. It just says spring suspension, but, well, I guess it says VR det down here at the bottom. It has an engine insert. It's not a whole engine. It doesn't have like an oil pan or anything like that. But that one is also the same way, engine insert. So what I have done after doing some research about what parts were in what kits, I found that the 2007 left-hand drive interior pieces are the exact same thing that's in this 2012 one. So I bought that one at my hobby shop, got it for a song and a dance because it had been sitting there so long it was dusty and dented. And then I bought this one through one of my favorite retailers in Hong Kong because this turned out to be out of production too once AOSHA updated the GTR to a 2014 version. Waiting on the left-hand drive one of that, I hope, in the next couple of months. And I put the left-hand drive in this, and then I'm going to build the other one as a right-hand drive car because I don't even need the parts out of this. The great thing about AOSHA kits is they don't ever gate off their kits. They don't ever shut off the runners to parts that don't come in the kit. So the left-hand drive kit has both interiors, both the left-hand drive and the right-hand drive interior, and the left-hand drive and right-hand wipers, and you could build either way out of the kit. So I just literally took the runner that's, I think it's 10 parts. That's all. It's the interior, pan, seats, dashboard, the sail panel at the bottom of the window that the wipers attached to the wipers, and that's pretty much it. And I put it in here, and so I'm going to build 2 GTRs at the same time. I think my North American one's going to be something resembling this blue color, and I think the other one's going to be silver, which I realize I'm at that point not only building box stock, but I'm building the box art. But I have so many GTRs, and I really like this shade of blue. So right now, the one thing I have done with either one of those is I painted the steering wheel to the JDM version. I realize that's probably not a lot of work, but I painted the steering wheel 4 different shades of black, plus 2 different shades of silver. And I'm still not done with it. So, just going for a little more detailing with that. The one thing I said I had a whole bunch of stuff glued together for and didn't realize belongs to this Fiat 500F Tamiya kit. I hate to say gem of a kit because, I don't know, it sounds kind of effeminate, but it's a little gem of a kit. It really is. It has this full detail, has an engine, everything. It's probably 85, 90 parts maybe. It's a really cool little kit. And by that I mean it's like a really cool little kit. Yeah, I know this is upside down at this point, but there we go. You got it has an opening trunk and everything. And as of right now, let me see if I can wind my way through stuff without tipping my water over. Right now I have the most basic part of the engine done. Let's see, probably easier to do it this way. And it's basically just a block, and it has well, that's not going to focus, but it has the distributor and the valve and the oil filler on it, and that's pretty much it. Like this side of it, you get the fan belt and stuff going to run, and then, actually this side's the transmission side, and then this side the fan belt stuff will run in. So, so just getting it started. Here's a steering wheel. Ooh. Also on this deck of stuff is the Veneno. Whoops, that's upside down. The the Lamborghini Veneno by Fujimi. It's a bunch of carbon fiber nailed together at odd angles. I'm not sure which of the three colors I'm going to paint this, because the silver one is the one that was in the museum, and it's the one that the decals match. But the decals, I believe, are also the same for all three as far as like the pinstriping. You see how along the bottom splitters there's red stripes. There were three of them made. One's red, one's white, one's green. The colors of the Italian flag, yes. So I don't know if I'm going to do one in a different color or not. There are a number of Veneno kits out there, and you have to be careful which one you're going to buy, because only one of them comes with an actual, whoops, down and over. Down. There we go. Only one of them comes with an actual engine. There are several that come with an engine insert. This is not going to focus. Come on. Yeah, you get the gist. There's a 16-part engine in this kit, so you want the kit with the car coming like this. All of the other ones have the car facing the other direction, where it's coming from the picture from left to right. This one's coming from right to left. So although this down here also means, hey, there's an engine in here. There's not an engine in the other ones. There's an engine in here though. So if you want one of these and you want one with an engine, now again, it's not a whole engine, because there's an aerodynamic chassis pan. It's just flat. I'm looking at the wrong camera. There's an aerodynamic chassis pan. It's just flat, so it doesn't have an oil pan. It's just basically the top part of the engine. And I know this really annoys one of my friends, but it is what it is in that sense. It's certainly a great deal more detailed than the one that they made originally, that just had the one-part paint cup with molded engine detail, the way the Aventador came originally. And then finally, one of the last things that I'm currently working on, I've got the engine partially done for this, is the pull back, there we go, is the Ferrari Enzo. And this is the Ferrari Enzo that has the detail up parts. This has the photo etch that's sold separately included within it. Let's see, Tamiya. So it has that sheet of photo etch in it. They sell that sheet separately now. It just came back into production, actually, or at least Hobby Search just got a batch of it in for like $8 or $9. The entire cost of this kit with that in there is also a sheet of like Mylar silver self-adhesive, sort of like a thicker bare metal foil kind of thing, as well as some really basic carbon fiber decals. And this one costs like $42 that way, and it's like $38 without it, so it's a deal. It is molded in red, not white like the parts layout on the bottom shows. I also have for this kit the Studio 27 carbon fiber set, which is about 140 pieces of carbon fiber. It is quite the adventure in decaling, but like I said, I love decaling, so I'm going to really enjoy myself with that. The kit thing for the club is this. Whoops, I'm trying to get, so I don't get a lot of glare one way or the other, is this 67 Dodge Charger 426 Hemi 2-in-1. Now, obviously, this can be built as a regular factory stock car or as a drag vehicle. Oops, wrong side of the box, James. It could be built as a drag car. I will be building it this way. I actually already had this. I have the original one with the red box art and that god-awful donut box that they put in when Revell was doing that. I had planned to build it. I have all the 67 Mopars, actually, that Revell did. There's a GTX and a Plymouth, what the heck is it? Was it GTX and some other, I can't remember. And I'm not going to dig through the stack. I bet you I won't see it just turning around. But you know what I mean. Guys that build Mopars and build Revell kits, they know what 3 of the 67 Mopars are. There's 2 of them were done as Revell kits. One was done as a monogram. 2 are Dodges. It's Coronet. That's what it is. The Coronet, a Plymouth GTX, and this Charger. I personally love this body style Charger. I know a bunch of my friends give me a ration of crap because they don't like the fastback Chargers. I personally love the fastback Charger. I am so overdone by people online building Dukes of Hazzard kits and custom 68, 69 Dodge Chargers that I'm almost at the point where I don't like the car anymore. And it's one of those kits that's really easy to find, so everybody has done one, and everybody thinks theirs is the best. And there are some really, really cool 68, 69 Chargers. Don't get me wrong. There's some really kick-ass builds of that model. Unfortunately, that's not most people's builds of that model, and especially not the people that are really, really into the Dukes of Hazzard. They go way overboard. Now, a buddy of mine has a real Dukes of Hazzard car, like a 1-1 version. Nicest guy in the world, but not quite all there. Love you, Dawn. But this has to be built by the second Monday of June. This is our club thing. We did a Christmas gift exchange. It was my idea, so I kind of have to do it. I'm happy that I got that, but even though I already have one, because there's only like one other thing I saw in the gift exchange I would have wanted. Basically, we all got new or unused kits and wrapped them in blank paper and then randomly assigned them out to the club members, so you wouldn't get your own thing back. What I ended up giving, I gave one of the club members a 67 Coronet, the Foose car. So there's going to be two 67 Mopars in this thing. I think there's a couple of 41 Chevys. There's at least one, I think it's a 32.5 window, and then some random sort of junk. Well, no offense to the people who got the kits. They don't think it's junk, but not stuff I would want to build. And then, I guess real quick, we'll do a what did I get today? I have a really big one to do. It's going to be a separate video, but I went to the hobby shop with my bonus check from work. Gave most of it to my wife because she's on her slow semester at school right now. She teaches nurses, so she needs money more than I do. And so I picked up 3 Revell kits that I've been meaning to get that aren't atrocious. They'll get my ire up. They are the 57 Chevy convertible. This is basically the last kit of the Tri-5s that I need. I'm not really making a collection of Tri-5s, but I like Tri-5s. I know a bunch of people are all like, there are too many Tri-5s. Too many 32 Fords and Tri-5s. Look, they sell, all right? This prints money every time the kit comes out. You see it's got that Batwing air cleaner. That's a new part to this kit. It has the Continental kit, which I believe is also a new part to this. And look at that, folks. Look at that right there. It's an up top in a Revell kit. You didn't have to buy 2 of them. There's really an up top in a Revell kit. They're either listening or they really don't plan to do any more Tri-5 Chevys. This is something I've been wanting to get since it came out, I guess last year, or really the year before. This is a 2012 kit. This is being the 49 Mercury wagon. Kind of disappointed I mean, I knew this going in. I'm not sitting here going, I didn't know, because, obviously I did, but, it'd be really nice if this would have had a factory chassis underneath of it, because while I certainly appreciate the chopped 49 Mercury for the fodder that it brings, it's sort of one of those canvas builds where people can do anything they want to with it. I really would have liked them to make a factory stock 49 Mercury. And I know I'm not the only one. Although when I sit there and talk about it online, I get the whole, there's the AMT one. Yeah, the AMT one's like 70 years old at this point. Okay, it's 60 years old, but still, this is riding on the chassis and all the custom, it has the custom Cadillac engine in it that's in the chopped version of the car. It's got a factory stock interior. It's a completely factory stock exterior. They really did make 49 Mercury Woody wagons, but obviously they didn't come with Cadillac engines. It's not a big deal. I mean, if I really wanted to make a factory stock one, I could steal the engine out of the 49 Mercury Woody or the 49 Mercury AMT kit that I have. Don't know how I managed to pick another one of those up somewhere along the way. I got one. But I because if you did the factory stock engine, that would lead me to believe there would be a factory stock car. And I think that the 49 Mercury, just in general, is an iconic enough vehicle that it deserves a retooled kit in 2015. Not I'm advocating they make one necessarily, but just in general terms. Because the old kit is old. And the new kit is chopped roof. Which makes it the only reason Revell got it right, am I right? Chopped roof, get it? Yeah, it couldn't make it too short, it was already chopped. Anyway, but, not everybody wants that pre-assigned roof height. I think it would have been, it's one of those things where if you want to chop the roof on a car, there is, to the casual builder, the guy who builds like 12 models a year, one a month or so, this is a great kit for them because they just pick it up and it's already done and they just build it. But for the actual modeler, the guy who can, do their own work, it's already pre-chopped for you at that point. Do you really want it that roof height? You're kind of stuck with it. Are you gonna raise it up more, or I don't know. That's just me. And then lastly, mainly because I did kind of slander this kit online, I picked up the Acura Integra Type R that came out this month from Revell. This is a reissue. We covered it. It covered it incorrectly, and then corrected ourselves. It does indeed, folks, have an engine. It has an engine. Looky there, it has an engine. It's not a die-cast, it's plastic. It also comes with, let me pull this back a little bit. It comes with like 3 different wheel options, or 4 different wheel options. I'm not sure how well this is going to show up because I'm getting a lot of feedback from from the monitor. Let me see if I can close this window and make it look a little bit better. There we go. Nope, that only made it worse. There we go. Sort of. You can see the wheels. You can't see the engine anymore. But the wheels are what I'm talking about right now. So it's got like 4 sets of wheels, and then if you look over here, it's got 3 different wing options. So I mean, there's a lot of parts in here, right? As it turns out. So this is cool. This might go in this depending on I haven't opened it yet. So depending on the actual box contents, when I actually look at them, this may turn into modeler's ADD and bump something out of the shelf off the bench that I just showed you. So I probably won't start this Dodge until the weather breaks, because I already have one, so I know what goes into building it. I haven't built the other one, but I've looked at the parts before. I know my build plan. I have a color picked out for it. It's not going to be a factory correct Mopar color, so I need to do a little more research. It's pretty close, I think, to something that the 67 Charger came in, but I want to make sure, if it is something that's close, that the interior is the color I think it should be, because I'm not looking to necessarily build a fascinatingly different vehicle, but I also don't want to build something that's just tragically incorrect as well. And you may notice that behind me there, we took care of the Leaning Tower of Caprices. It's, no, we're gonna come this way. Look out. Getting a close-up of my shirt. But you see now we've got everything all nice and neat. Nothing is crushing anything anymore. So there's that. So, guys, I guess that's it. And we'll catch everybody on the next Stash Project video. Until we see you next time, see you.